We're going to go live to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He's making a community infrastructure announcement and speaking to reporters in Montreal.
Politics and increased threats, particularly to our Arctic. That's why we announced a very significant defense policy update just a few months ago that makes record investments in our military, making sure that we have the right person to lead our armed forces in this pivotal time was something that I think Canadians appropriately felt that we needed to take seriously, which we did. And that's why I'm so incredibly pleased with General Carignan coming on as Chief of Defence Staff. Her leadership will be significant in these challenging times in Canada and around the world. Évidemment, on est en train de vivre des moments d'énormes défis au niveau de la géopolitique,
moments of enormous challenges in geopolitics and the global situation. Therefore, we need to have the right people and the right leadership within our Canadian Armed Forces. We need significant resources. This is why we made investments, especially in the protection of the Arctic. We also made massive investments in our armed forces. But it also takes the right person to lead our Canadian forces. We spoke with General Eyre and with the armed forces to find the right person, and so I'm very pleased to announce General Jenny Carignan, who will be our next Chief of Staff.
On another topic, we understand you met with members of your caucus executive this week. What was your takeaway from that meeting?
Listen, there are lots of conversations going on about how we make sure we keep working hard to deliver for Canadians. People are facing challenging times, and that's where stepping up on things like dental care, on more spaces in childcare, more construction of housing, better delivery of services, including a national school food program, growing the economy with greater investments from around the world in good green jobs and careers. These are the things that we need to continue to focus on as Canadians are facing challenging times right now, and we will continue to do that.
Prochaine question. Good morning, Prime Minister. Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. Why are you refusing to meet with the National Caucus? Your MPs are calling for an urgent in-person meeting of all MPs. Why are you refusing, and do we interpret from that that you don't care what they have to say?
Listen, let's be very clear. Last week's by-election loss, not to sugarcoat it, was challenging. Was something we need to take seriously, and we've been engaged in lots of important conversations. I've had lots of calls with different members of caucus from across the country, not just in the GTA, to talk about how we make sure we're continuing our work connecting with Canadians, to make sure we're continuing to deliver for people. There are, as always, a range of perspectives and voices within the Liberal Party, and listening to all those voices and giving them all time to engage is really, really important. And that's what we've been doing, what I'm going to continue to do while we stay focused on delivering for Canadians.
It's evident that in the Liberal caucus, as always, there's a wide range of perspectives. And the reality is that last week's partial loss was a difficult time, and that has pushed us to work even harder. It is driving us to put in place the answers that we need to continue to deliver for the citizens, whether delivering dental care, a school food program, or whether that's new housing, or in terms of investments in a greener economy and good jobs for future years and more childcare spaces. We have more work to do, and we'll continue to do it together.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Liberal or a Conservative in Canada. Voters tend to give Prime Ministers, or have always given Prime Ministers in the last 100+ years, the door after 9 or 10 years. Why do you think you're different?
Listen, there is a challenge faced by democracies all around the world right now. Whether we look at what's going on in France, whether we look at the election in the United States, whether we look at any democracy around the world where we are seeing increasing challenges to people's well-beings, greater anxieties, an erosion of democratic principles and rights, this is a really important time for governments to step up and deliver concretely for citizens, to restore and encourage faith in the institutions that are there, to deliver things like more childcare spaces, to deliver better access to dental care for people who don't have insurance, to deliver more housing with the most ambitious housing plan this country has ever seen. These are the things that we need to stay focused on, and that's exactly what I'm working hard on right now.
Prochaine question.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau, Audrey Neveu de Radio-Canada.
Question?
Vos élus demandent une réunion d'urgence du
Your
Caucus
elected
depuis,
representatives have
la
been
défaite
demanding a
en
national
Toronto-Saint-Paul.
caucus
Vous engagez-vous à
meeting
tenir cette
since the
réunion
loss
dans la
last week.
prochaine semaine, oui ou non?
Will you be holding that meeting next week, yes or no? Answer? First of all, I had a meeting yesterday with the caucus executive. We talked about a number of different issues that we can continue to do to deliver for Canadians and to rally the team. We'll continue to engage in that discussion, and I continue to be committed and engaged with MPs across the country. We had good conversations last week, and we'll continue to have more. I'm listening to the entire caucus and not just the ones speaking to the media. Question? Some MPs are demanding your departure. You intend to stay in the position. What makes you think you still have the moral authority to lead the troops? Answer? My conversations with MPs from coast to coast has assured me that our priority is to continue to deliver for Canadians, whether that's in terms of services, helping with affordability, investments for a better future. Those are the things that we're focusing on, and that's what we'll continue to work on.
Sarah Levitt, CBC. With all due respect, my two colleagues have asked the same question and they have not received a specific answer. The question is, will you hold a national in-person caucus with your party, with the MPs?
As I've said, I will continue to engage and to talk and to listen and to meet with all my MPs from across the country to talk about how we can both understand what we need to improve on, given last week's by-election defeat, but also how we continue to be there for Canadians in a really important moment. People are anxious in Canada and around the world, and a government needs to be stepping up to deliver for people, whether it's delivering more housing and support on rents, whether it's delivering more spaces in childcare, whether it's delivering dental care services. These are all things that the Conservative Party has said they will cut or eliminate. These are the things that actually matter for Canadians. These are the things that we are focused on as a team.
Follow-up. There are members of your caucus that are considering leaving if you do stay on. What's your reaction to that? And are you willing to stay on and lose members of your caucus?
I think the conversations that I'm having with MPs directly right across the country, the conversations that we're all having as Liberals are going to continue, and we're going to stay focused on Canadians. I can't speak to what people in the media are thinking. That's your job. But I can speak to the strength and focus that all Liberals have on delivering for Canadians, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Prochaine question.
Bonjour, Marie-Lise, TVA Nouvelle. Pourquoi rester en
Question?
poste si votre
Why stay on if your popularity is bringing the Liberal Party down and would promote a Poilievre government? Answer? We understand that Canadians are going through difficult times and the rest of the world is going through a difficult time. If we look at the elections in the US, in France, democracy across the world is under threat. We understand that people are very concerned. That's why our government is anchored on the need to deliver for people, to deliver dental care, to deliver more childcare spaces, to deliver more new housing construction, and the most ambitious plan that Canada has seen for decades. Just here in Montreal, construction has increased by 200% over last year. This is the work that our government is doing to help people during anxious times, and will continue to do that work to deliver for Canadians. Question? Team members have asked you to step down. What do you have to say? Answer. I've had frank and direct conversations with some members, and those conversations are about the challenges that we are facing and what we faced in the by-election loss. However, our focus is still on Canadians and still on the support we need to provide and the work we need to do together.
Oui, bonjour, M. Trudeau, Vincent Larin pour la presse.
Question?
Je me demandais, qu'est-ce que vous allez faire
pour
rassurer vos députés?
What will you do to reassure your MPs who are concerned about the by-election loss in Toronto-St. Paul? Answer. I am having those conversations. We are having those conversations as a team. We will continue to deliver and make sure that whatever we do has an impact, a positive impact on Canadians. We're making investments that are providing concrete assistance to Canadians in these times of uncertainty based on the instability we're seeing across the world. So we'll continue to support people and to do that work. Question, but what is your answer to people who are publicly calling for you to step down? Answer. There will always be people with very different opinions, and that's one of the strengths of the Liberal Party of Canada. We have people with very different perspectives, but I can tell you that we're having conversations with the MPs from one coast to the other, and the emphasis is on how we are going to continue to be there for Canadians and how we will present a positive vision to fight against this rise of populism that we're seeing across the world, including within Pierre Poilievre's leadership. Last question. Question.
Justement, je vais aller un peu traverser l'océan pour vous faire réagir au premier tour des élections françaises.
I just want to go across the ocean to get your reaction for the first round of elections in France.
La droite en France.
Does this concern you that the right is on the rise in France? Answer. I do think that we're seeing a rise in the popular right across democracies all over the world. This is why I think it's so important that we continue to be there to deliver and reassure citizens. There are some people who see that people are anxious and decide to amplify those anxieties in France and elsewhere. But there are other people offering concrete solutions. Of course, it's always more difficult to transmit a positive message of working to deliver concrete solutions in these times. Controversy and rage is creating difficulties. But we're working with society to create a community, agencies, a united society, and we're working to try and resolve the major challenges. That's the serious work that democracies need to do, and that's what we are doing here in Canada and what we're seeing somewhat across the world. And these are through progressive efforts. Going back to Canada, are there changes required in your cabinet in order to increase your party's popularity in the polls? Answer, listen. I'm listening to all of our MPs and our ministers to deliver on the programs that we have. We'll continue with that work. This is a very challenging time for Canadians, and the government needs to be there with solutions, and that's what we're doing. Whether that's by providing dental care, investments in housing, more daycare spaces, or investments to create greener jobs for the future. We are there to make those real concrete investments that will help Canadians and will also help to provide assurance in these difficult times. Thank you.
Okay, so we have been listening to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau make a community infrastructure announcement and also speak to reporters in Montreal. During the Q&A with reporters, he also mentioned the naming of Lieutenant General Ginny Carignan as the new defense chief. This is going to be the first woman to hold the Canadian Armed Forces top job.